The only thing holding you and me and everyone back in this life is literally our brains. We are prisoners of our own imagination, of our own mind, and of our own creations. And as a result, we literally hold ourselves hostage without even realizing this, and we live our lives unhappy and unfulfilled and stuck. So in this video, I want to share with you how to break out of this prison of your mind, how you can become free and happy and go and do everything that you want, because all the things that you are feeling held back by, your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, your lack of self-confidence, your lack of self-belief, anything that you feel you are unhappy with or are unable to achieve in this life is because of your mind. It's because you are a prisoner to your own mind. And my goal with this video is that you learn to break free from it with certain mindset shifts, as well as practical applications that I have found helpful and useful in my own life. Because believe it or not, I used to be very much in my head. I was very insecure on all the levels, okay? And I had to really learn to take this apparatus, to take this prison that you keep yourself in, and shatter it down and walk out the door, because the door is always open. You just have to choose to walk through it and be free. Welcome. If you're new here, this is just a style of content that I make. I paint as I talk. And so basically what I realized is that whatever it is you are trying to do in this life, you are probably stuck in your brain. If you clicked on this video, you're likely someone who is overthinking. Maybe you want to let go, maybe you want to be free. You may or may not have used substances also to help you to accomplish this, but my goal is that you don't have to use substances. If you can learn to understand a couple of things, and one of them, the main thing that really shifted everything for me, was when I understood that none of this life is real. Okay, this experience that we are having, it feels real to you, but it's not going to matter many years down the line. And I may be repeating this, but realistically speaking, you are attached to an outcome. You are attached to opinions of other people. And as a result, no one is holding you back. No one is holding you back from loving yourself the way that you are. No one is holding you back from going after that opportunity except your own mind. So you really want to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, how important is it for you to maintain this image that you are trying to maintain, versus how important is it for you to actually take this one experience in life that you have and make the most out of it? Because all you have to do to break free is you have to make the choice to value and prioritize yourself and your life experience more than the opinions of other people, than the opinions of society, than your past, than the stories that you have in your brain. Because oftentimes also we have all of these limiting beliefs, and it's just that you're overthinking. Okay, the only thing you have to do is you have to stop thinking, get out of that brain. Okay, and one thing that is helpful for this is you want to become aware of what does your gut say, and you want to become more heart-centered rather than brain-centered, because there is science that shows that our brain is actually not as powerful as our heart. Our heart is way more powerful, and also our heart actually has neurons in it. Our heart is like a separate brain. There is literally a brain in your gut. It's your heart. There's science that proves this, and your heart is immensely powerful. So you are probably overthinking and you're living in your head because you are, one, attached to an outcome, and two, you are listening to your brain rather than your heart, because you have certain things that you're trying to protect. You're trying to protect a certain self-image. You're trying to protect a certain self-identity that you have built over the years, because sometimes if you were to really let go and to become free, it would require a complete shattering of everything that you've known yourself to be. And that's not always a present thing. However, on the other side of it, it's freedom. It's absolute freedom. And there is no magic pill. You know, it's a lot simpler than you think. Breaking free from the prison of your own mind is a lot simpler than you think. You have to stop thinking. You have to take that brain and shut it off. And there are a few ways to do it that are healthy, because I actually used to have to numb my brain. I used to have such a strong mind that I had to go through a period where I really had to dull my brain for me to live life and be happy and to learn to let go. And at first I did that, and then overdid it actually. And I had to learn to reintegrate my brain to actually bring my brain back. But what I found in the middle of all of this is something called balance, where you don't want to shut off your brain, you don't want to numb it, you don't want to take substances or anything to help you. And I know sometimes it is helpful, especially alcohol, which I don't drink, by the way. I cannot handle alcohol. But if you just learn to distance yourself from your own thoughts and stop identifying from them, that's really all you have to do. And some practices that are helpful for this, and you might hear this so repetitive so many times, but really meditation. I started meditating every single day, and it just makes such a huge difference, because the reason you are let's just say you have a problem, right? There's a very specific thing. Let's take a very specific thing right now that you are trying to break free from, that you are trying to essentially escape this mental prison. What comes to mind? What is holding you back? Do you have a fear? Do you have an insecurity? Do you have a doubt? Do you have a fear of failure because maybe you failed in the past and as a result you're overthinking? What is this one thing very specifically that you're trying to break free from? And what I want you to do is I want you to just stop thinking, okay? Take that thing, play out the worst case scenario of taking your actions, and make peace with the worst case scenario. And just understand that what's meant to happen will happen. When you can make the peace with the worst case scenario of whatever it is that is troubling you, let's just say you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid of failure, you're afraid of not having friends, make peace with that. When you can make peace with that, when you can accept that, it will be okay no matter what happens, you can become someone who no longer cares about the outcome. And when you can detach from an outcome, you will be free from your mind. The biggest reason you are imprisoned by your mind, again, I said this, I'm going to repeat it, it's because you are expecting certain things. You have an attachment to outcome, you have an attachment to a certain image and a way in which you want things to be, because you want to preserve a certain version of reality for yourself. But if you can let that version of reality shatter and not care anymore, you will find freedom like you never have before. And so basically what I did personally too, I'm sorry, I went off on a tangent. It's when I had to learn to make peace with my mind healthily, that's exactly what I did. I took every single thing and I made peace with the worst case scenario, and I accepted that the way that I am is the way I am made to be. You don't have to be fixed. You can change if you choose to. You can grow if you want to, but you don't have to be fixed. And when I learned to observe myself, not just my thoughts, I learned to observe myself. Now, I have not heard this talked about that much, but basically, you simply detach from yourself. Meditation is helpful for this, but really it's intention. It's when you learn to distance yourself from yourself and simply watch. Watch your feelings, watch what comes up, watch your thoughts, watch what you feel, watch your impulses, watch all of yourself, and simply observe what your human wants to do. When I started to do this, it's almost like I stopped identifying with myself. And it's funny because we have all of these fears too, because we believe that we are our own. We believe that you are this person. You are the story that you're telling yourself. But if you can learn to shift and disentangle from that, that is so powerful. When I did that, I realized that even though you think you are fully in control of all of you, sometimes what is really running your life is your subconscious mind. And you are in control of yourself in a different way. But it's the best thing you can do for yourself is stop taking everything so seriously. Stop thinking that you are this person and this matters, because again, you have one life. And I love this, I'm going to keep saying this. When you are 80, you will not look back and wish you stayed safe. You will not look back and wish you lived up to everyone's expectations. You will not care what people think, because guess what? Those people will come and they will go. And if you have an intuition or a gut feeling, it's your right to follow it. And those thoughts, those fears, those anxieties, they are normal. They're part of the process. It's not about shoving it away. It's not about trying to make those feelings go away. It's not about saying, oh my God, I will never feel fear. Once I break out the mind prison, I will never feel fear. Listen, you're looking for comfort. You want freedom or do you want comfort? You gotta pick one. Because freedom comes with initial discomfort. And let me tell you this, okay? Sometimes the things you are most afraid of, the things you are ruminating about, that you're overthinking, when you can face your fears, on the other side of it is so much more freedom, it's so much happiness, and leaning into fear is one of the best things you can do for yourself and for your life. And I've done this on multiple levels, and what I will say is, it's not about trying to not be afraid. It's not about trying to take the brain out. It's not about not having anxiety or fear or doubts. It's about having it and having the strength to hold it. Hold it and sit with those feelings. And sometimes you might even be so scared and so anxious that you feel like you're gonna throw up. It happens. You might even throw up out of that. But it's like, still, if you're willing to sit and hold that anxiety, hold that feeling and witness it. Just witness it. Don't get attached to it. Don't get involved with it. Just look at it and say, okay, I see it. My whole entire physiology is overreacting right now, and this will help you to break free from your prison, because mental prison, because like, I actually don't like that word prison, but hey, it's true, okay? Like, you built it yourself, and the way out of that is literally being with this discomfort when it comes out, when you feel nervous, when you feel shaky. Don't run away from it, okay? Feeling nervous or anxious is not a signal to not do that thing. In fact, it's a signal to do that thing. Unless your gut says otherwise, unless it really feels not safe, then of course listen to your gut, listen to that. But when you have all these fears come up, literally witness it. Say, okay, what is your body experiencing? Are you nervous? Are you shaking? Are you trembling? Is it hard to breathe? Like, what's happening? Witness it. Let it be there. And do the damn thing anyways. And what's funny is, like, the more I do that, the more I lean into this feeling. It's first, let me say, okay, it's not easy. Again, do you want to be comfortable or do you want to be free? And I'm sorry, this is tough love. This is a lot of what I do. Sometimes I feel like I don't really like to sugarcoat it. I don't want to say, oh my God, life is going to be easy and comfortable. Listen, growth requires discomfort. I want you to look at it as growing pains, right? Like when a butterfly has to come out of a chrysalis, it has to break free. It has to break the cocoon that it's been in. And that requires effort. That requires struggle. That requires discomfort, and that requires sometimes fear, because the butterfly is safe, it's in a cocoon, maybe it's warm, I don't know this, okay, I'm just assuming. Maybe it's warm, it's safe, it's cozy, and it might be scared of breaking, but sometimes, you grow, and if you want to be free, you have to break out of your comfort zone. That's really the way out. The way out is not looking for some magical answer. It's not looking for some quick solution that's just going to take this feeling away and make you stop overthinking. Listen, I feel like there is so much these days that people are like, they give so much meaning and drama to like anxiety and oh my God, I'm anxious, I'm nervous, I can't do this. No, listen, just because you're anxious doesn't mean you can't do this. You can. You're just going to be anxious doing it. You might even want to throw up as you're doing it, but you're going to physically be capable of moving your feet, moving your hands, opening your mouth and speaking. You might just have all those feelings physically present with you. So it's about, can you hold those feelings and give them space and stop shoving them away? Because I believe that a lot of the issues that we deal with is because we don't acknowledge those feelings. We try to suppress them and we think that it's not valid. We try to think that, the way that you feel, and maybe you're watching this video and if you're still here, you're like, but, I don't want to feel this way. It's not valid. Like, I don't like it. How do I make it go away? You make it go away by sitting with it and going into it. Especially if it's something you're afraid of. If you're afraid of doing something, the only way you're going to get out of that is you have two options, okay? You can let the fear win, and you can say, oh, I'm afraid of this, I just won't look at it, right? And you will never level up in that area of your life. Or you have another option, which is to say, you know what, I'm afraid of this thing, and the only way to eliminate that fear is to face it, is to run towards it, is to say, okay, This is what scares me. So I will do it anyways. And you will feel scared because part of you, it's like your ego is being triggered. Your old self is being triggered, and that's not comfortable. Again, growth is not often comfortable. And the only way you're going to remove that fear is when you do it, which you will realize is eventually it will become less and less and less, and it will be gone. And sometimes it won't always be gone, you know, like people who perform, artists, like it's not that they're not nervous, you know, you think people that go on stage, like they look so confident and whatever, but maybe they are nervous right before they do it, right? But they don't say, oh, I am nervous, I am scared, I'm feeling anxious, therefore it means I should not perform. No, that's not what that means. It means you should go perform, but you're going to have all those feelings that you have to hold and witness and validate and let it be present and understand that they don't control you. Don't give them the power to control you, because it's an emotion you're experiencing it. It's inside of you, but you're physically capable of still controlling your body, your mind, your physicality to take the actions that you have to take. And you know, it's funny because I felt inspired to make this video because I made one more video of breaking the mental chains. And sometimes these videos that I make, not all of them have a very solid structure. Sometimes I'll start talking and I'll go off on a tangent, and sometimes that actually gives me ideas for the next videos, right? So again, you want to witness this feeling, sit with it, and also as you do that, make sure that you are detaching from an outcome. Because chances are the reason you feel so held back by all these fears and anxieties is because your mind is telling you certain stories about what the outcome is. And this story breeds and feeds into the anxiety, it breeds into the fear, it breeds into the doubt, and that's what keeps you stuck, is because you have a story on the loop that actually may not even belong to you. It might be from your family, it may be from your society, it may be genetic, ancestral, but it might not even belong to you, right? You might have just picked it up somewhere, and as a result, you have this story running on loop, and it perpetuates the same fear. And again, the only way to break it is you can change the story, or you can just take the actions, and when you take actions, the belief will follow. Sometimes we wait to be confident, we wait to feel like it, but you will never feel like it. We will just have to do it. It is helpful also to just change your story and understand that not everything your brain tells you is true. And you can also test it. Say, hey, mind, I see you, I hear you. This is what you're telling me. This is what the quote-unquote prisoner, your brain, is telling you about the future, right? It's telling you that something negative will happen. It's giving you all kinds of physical sensations as a result. And you say, okay, talk to it. Say, I see you, I hear you. Even if the worst case scenario happens, it's okay, but I will do this thing anyways, and test it. Okay, look at life as an experiment. I saw this in a video somewhere, and it was such an amazing reminder. I don't know what video it was. It was just at some point months ago, scrolling through YouTube. It said, look at life as an experiment. Don't look at it as like this thing where you have to get every single thing right. You know, when you play video games, do you always look at every single thing as the most important action to take? No, it's like treat your life like an experiment, of course within the bounds of being a responsible adult, but treat it like an experiment. Say, oh, I wonder what happens if I do this thing anyways. I wonder what happens if I actually take the actions I want to take. Don't assume that you know the answer, okay? Because the truth is sometimes we think we do, but we don't. You know, another thing that can be holding you back is because you're convinced that you know what's going to happen. But challenge it. Say, okay, I might not know what's going to happen. A different result might occur, right? Because anything is possible. And sometimes we're so like, we want to be right to the point where, you know, we dismiss ourselves prematurely and we dismiss the situations prematurely because like you're convinced that you're right. You're convinced that the story that you have is 100% right. But what if it's not? What if it's not? You know, I'm going to use this example that I used to be the same weight I am now, which is like between 5 and 15 pounds heavier than I was before. So it's not that much, okay? But for me, like when I was this weight when I was younger, a few like I don't know, honestly like 7 years back, I was so insecure because in my head I had a story that no one's gonna love me. I'm ugly, that's like bad, I have to be model skinny, otherwise no one's gonna love me, no one's gonna find me attractive. That was a story running on autopilot. But what I think of it now is like, it's not true. Like, a lot of guys actually prefer bigger girls, and I feel like guys find me more attractive when I'm like this as opposed to being like very, very thin. You know, I mean, like, I'm still thin, but it's like I just look more healthy, I guess. But it's not the focus on that. The focus is on that, you know, sometimes we have the story in here, and the story in here is going to tell you that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, but it's not because it's objectively true. It's not that I was objectively fat or whatever, it's just that I didn't find the confidence in me. But now when I am the same weight and I have the confidence in me, my entire life is different. I feel different, I vibrate different, like I attract different, people see me differently, I make different decisions. You know, it's like, it's all mental. And you know, I urge you to challenge that thought. Like, don't dismiss it, don't try to fight it like, oh my god, no, it's wrong, I'm gonna, which by the way I've done this, so that's why I'm bringing it up. Is sometimes when a thought comes up and you're like tempted to shove it away and ignore it, you're like, oh no, I'm scared, so I'm gonna pretend the fear doesn't exist. But it's okay for it to exist, because there is infinite possibilities in this world. Like, anything and everything can happen. It's just about being open to what's best for you to happen. Okay, so simply set the intention and go with that. You know, what's meant to happen will happen, and you know what is right for you to do because you feel it in your gut. You're always guided, you're never alone, you're never left hanging. Like, you're always guided. It's just as you forgot, like, we forget these things because life and society and a lot of different things that I'm not going to go into, but you're never alone and you're always guided. And so I just urge you to question and challenge and experiment with it. Look at life as an experiment. Don't take it so seriously. Don't think that you know all the answers. Try it out, and if it proves you right, okay, you tried it out. But what if it proves you wrong? What if it proves you wrong? It's kind of like when I was the same weight when I was younger. I was like, oh my god, no one's gonna love me, even though I still got hit on and approached by people. But I was like, oh my god, no one's gonna love me. But it's like, well, what if they do? You know? And now I see that, like, it's even better this way. And it's like, challenge that thought, you know, and know that the way that you are is exactly perfect. You're not meant to be something you're not. You know, just be yourself the way that you are. And the be yourself part is kind of funny, but it just means, like, just do what feels right for you. Okay, you're created the way that you're created for a reason. Like, you don't have parts of you that are irrelevant. You can change if you want to, if you feel it's what you want to do, but fundamentally, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. And you know, even your mind, if you have a very strong mind, and if you're still here in this video, which is pretty long, if you have a pretty strong mind, it's a tool. It's a beautiful tool. You just have to learn to work with it. Get past the brain by observing what's going on in your world. Learn to be present with your feelings. Don't think that your feelings are, or even your mind knows all the answers. Okay, just challenge it. Say, okay, if what my brain is telling me happens, it's okay, you will live, okay, you will survive. But what if something amazing happens instead? Okay, so work with your mind. There's nothing wrong with having a good brain or building these like mental constructs, because it just means you have a strong mind. You just want to learn to apply it in the right way. You want to learn to observe it and not give it power, and learn to instead listen to your heart, because your heart and your gut is a way more powerful brain. It knows way more because it sees beyond the physical. It sees beyond what's here. Like, I can see things. Like right now, you can see things. You can see your immediate environment. Your brain is only able to observe your immediate environment and also the stories in the past. But your heart has access to energy. It has access to the possibilities. It has access to the bigger picture, right? that compass is in your heart. So when you can trust that and listen to it and develop a relationship with your own intuition, that's going to give you the keys to break free from your mind for good. Not because you have to remove your mind, not because you have to suppress it, but because you learn to work with it and you learn to apply it in a way it's intended to apply. So I hope that this makes sense. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, or if you have any other questions that I can help you with. I hope you got something out of this video. With that said, sending you lots of love, freedom, not overthinking thoughts, okay? Don't overthink this, okay? Just listen to your heart. It knows, okay? I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.